Ready, go, Ty.
Game time. Showtime.
And we'll come back to that. Okay, you gonna come join me?
I am.
Without knocking the camera down?
Dun, 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 dun.
Okay, so yeah, I do want you to be able, Pam and everyone else, to interject and ask questions. So we just want to cover a few basic things of understanding, I think, which will be very, very helpful. And so let's just talk first. It's Tylene, by the way. I'm Sean.
Hi, Ty. Hi, I'm Tylene Loomer.
Let's talk first about what the uniqueness is. Okay, so the uniqueness about what we do is plant-based, no synthetics. Okay.
Stop the recording.
Whole food. Okay.
Houston, we have a problem.
And chelated minerals. Specifically, our minerals are chelated with the amino acid glycine. Okay? We got a little spillage here. Spillage.
It's water though, it's not soda. That's
water.
a good thing.
Doesn't? It's not horrible.
No.
Okay. So let's go back. Plant-based, no synthetics. Minerals are chelated with the amino acid glycine. What's the other piece? Whole food.
Oh, what makes us unique?
Yeah.
Yes. For sure, we have an enzyme delivery system in our entire product line to make sure whatever's in the capsule is getting delivered at the cellular level. And that's huge. That keeps us super unique.
All right, so just a little bit basic. So when I say synthetic, an example would be vitamin C, as ascorbic acid. So you can look at your supplements or vitamins at home and you'll turn a bottle around, and if you see it, vitamin C has ascorbic acid, you will know that that company is putting synthetic ingredients into their product. Even though they may have some really good nutrients, they're also cutting corners either financially or they just don't know what they don't know, and they're using synthetic forms of vitamins or some other type of thing that they
Yeah, sometimes you might see, a really wonderful herb or something in there, but then, like what Sean was saying, is they'll cut corners on the rest of their ingredients. And so you really want to be mindful of that when you're reading labels.
So as the example with vitamin C, hydrochloric acid, and corn syrup is typically your ascorbic acid, genetically modified.
Yeah, that's how they're synthetically making it in the lab. Vitamin A from palmitate, you can do your own research. They know it causes birth defects, but yet it's in the prenatal vitamins. It's also look for enriched and fortified foods, and they're going to put a pore form of a vitamin or a mineral into that food.
Someone might ask, like a doctor telling a pregnant mom, if the mom asks, why do you have a form of vitamin A like this? When she talks about
why would it be in my prenatal vitamin? Because I've asked, doctors this, and they say, well, they're not going to get that amount that's going to be toxic. And I said, well, you don't know what else they eat that's going to throw them into that toxicity level, and now it's in everything. So what once was a dusting, a small amount that may not be harmful, now it's in everything. And so if it's a mom that eats fresh and living food half the day and just takes a little bit of this synthetic, maybe they'll be okay. But if it's a mom who eats all packaged foods, they may not be okay. And so there's a lot of variables in that. So I'm not a big fan of synthetic vitamins. It cuts corners from the real deal.
Okay. We're going to jump right into digestion real quick, and we know that everything in the body starts with digestion, and I think most people, even experts, who are experts in a certain modality or whatever it is, for whatever reason they seem to miss this. It's getting better. The research on enzymes has been out there since the 1930s, and people kind of understand probiotics. They came to the forefront, but they don't really understand digestive enzymes. So what we're talking about is when we eat anything that's heated, 116 degrees, somewhere in that range. You can look at different research or go heat your stuff and see if it dies or not. The enzymes, which are the life force of food, die. They're killed. So as an example, when you see kind of an apple, you bite an apple, it starts to get brown, you know that's kind of a real, the life force of that food is starting to break itself down. If it's not a nasty pumped with whatever in the grocery store, you'll see it start to brown. A banana, right? If you leave it on the counter too long, it'll get soft, it'll turn dark, and pretty soon if you leave it there long enough, it'll ooze out of the sides. Those are the enzymes. That's the life force of that food starting to break itself down. So when we eat our food, even if it's good food, so whether it's a poor food, a donut or something like that, that's one thing. But even if we eat a good, people may say, I don't know, a nice piece of salmon or chicken breast or whatever it is, when you cook the enzymes, or you cook that food, the enzymes are now, they're gone. So here's how enzymes work so you don't think we're just wacky. Okay, so we're all born with our pancreas, right, with our digestive enzymes. It's kind of like a little bank account, a little battery of digestive enzymes. But what we don't know is where did we start? How many of each food group, basically, I'm simplifying, do we have? Because we know naturally after puberty, 18 to 20 years of age, every decade you're going to lose about 10% of your ability to digest a whole food group. Okay, so for example, I have a daughter, she's lactose intolerant. I'm not, okay? So we're not all the same. She started out at a deficit. So at a young age, she ran out of the ability, she ran out of the enzyme lactase, so she no longer could break down her milk sugars. So if she had dairy, she was going to be uncomfortable, okay? That's the one you feel. The other ones you don't feel. Our story goes way back. What I felt was my body no longer could break proteins down. So I had arthritis. So instead of breaking down to an amino acid, it stayed as uric acid, which would look like broken glass if you looked at it under a microscope. So that's protein enzymes. Lipase, fat enzymes. If you don't break down your fats to a good, usable fatty acid, then guess what happens? You get fat. Okay? If you don't break down these things, these sugars, I mean, all these different things create an issue. I lost my mom to colon cancer. So over time, my mom was eating her meals, maybe breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, dessert, over and over and over and over. And she was not breaking her food down all the way. And I remember her struggling in the restroom and not being able to go to the restroom enough. And I was a kid. I didn't really understand. I didn't know any better. And, you know, I look back, I'm like, man, had she known what she was eating all the time, what was keeping her from using the restroom, because we talk poop all the time.
Right.
If you ain't pooping, something's up. Right. We need to be pooping.
Clean colon is clean blood.
That's it. And so we talk digestion because so many people who are so knowledgeable about so many things, this food and that food and this ingredient and that, they miss digestion. And they don't get that everything starts with digestion. It takes precedent over everything in the body, basically. And if you're not breaking what you eat down, whether good or not so good, completely to the smallest molecule, so your body can utilize that, give you energy from what you've eaten, get rid of what it doesn't want, okay, and become toxic. Your blood is a river of life. You've got to have clean blood. So let's show them what we mean by breaking an example of cooked or processed food.
This is a snack pack pudding. And I could probably turn it over my hand. I'll get a chance doing it.
I'll scoot over.
And it doesn't go anywhere.
I'll get out of your way.
Because it's hot here in Florida. I wasn't sure if it started to get gooey. But it's not going to go anywhere. And you can do this with any food that's been cooked. The snack pack pudding is just convenient and easy, but you could do it with anything. And what enzymes do and what enzymes are is for them to split open that specific food group. So in the case of proteins, you have proteases, a few different types of protein splitting enzymes, that if there's any protein in this particular food, in this case it's pudding, so there's dairy in there, which will have proteins in there, like whey protein, and it will break those protein chains down to something that the body recognizes and can utilize.
So see how hard?
Not that you ever want to eat.
No.
Snack pack.
I've been stirring pretty hard.
But if you were to do that, you'd want to make sure it was digested.
But letting you know. Okay, so
he was just stirring it to show you that the stirring process is not what's going to make what happens next happen. It's going to be truly the enzymes.
Hold that.
So I always suggest people to do this with our enzymes as a visual to show their families and friends why digesting their food is so important.
And we've done this. Here, hold it straight. Look at her trying to set me up.
Well, I'm doing it for the camera.
I know, but I don't want to pour it everywhere.
On your nice pants.
Okay, so my nice sweatpants. So this is Flow. This is our digestive enzyme probiotic. It's a little maintenance supply of probiotics. It's not just plant enzymes. And this will basically...
Just so you can see. It's just, we're just opening up the capsule.
Opening up the capsule.
All of our capsules are just vegetarian
So little veggie
capsules.
So it's this size. I could do one. I could do two. Whatever. I'm gonna do two just because I left some in the
I'll
capsule.
pretend it was a steak. Steak would need 2. Big pasta meal would need 2. If you eat a whole pizza, you may need 5. Depends what you're eating.
Yeah. Being in Florida, we've had some 4 flow meals. That's for sure.
Tonight we're having pasta.
No more.
And
Okay.
a bottle of Flow.
All right, maybe.
Careful. It's
I'm gonna be careful.
So the reason we stir it is, well, one, to get the enzymes worked through the content. But when you're taking an enzyme with your meal, it's doing the same thing. It's getting into the stomach, and your stomach has its own peristalsis action, wave-like motion. Same thing like the intestinal tract. So just the stirring, and of course it hit my toe and my shoe, not his pants.
No,
That's how quick it digested.
Okay, so here it goes.
It's such a small thing of macronutrient food group.
See if,
Probably one would have worked.
see if you can see this.
But
Okay, ready?
so that's what you want to happen, because other than that, it would have just sat as a big glob in your stomach, waiting. And then, so the whole moral of the story is, if you can take pressure off of the body, that's when the true healing begins. And when you take a digestive enzyme, it's as if you ate the food raw. And so you're not asking a ton of your body. You're not asking a bunch of nutrients to come from your body. You're not asking your pancreas to overwork. And so it's about conserving your own body's enzymes.
So I think it's important to note that all of our products we use an enzyme delivery system. I did it. It's good. Like that.
It's on my
To
toes.
deliver the product. Oh, I lick your toes.
Hey,
That's another video.
this is a rated G video.
Okay. Can you go PG?
Oh my goodness.
All right, just kidding.
PG-13.
All right.
I'd lick my own toes if it was
Where's
butterscotch
that?
pudding, but it's chocolate.
Okay. But
Used to be my favorite.
here's the thing. So this is how, like, sometimes we're in California, Arizona, Florida. If you were to leave your product outside and it heats up, you're going to kill the enzymes. So that's always a cool way of testing if your flow is still good. Just open one up and see if it breaks the food down. Okay? So it's not a placebo, as you can see. This is the real thing. And what are the side effects? Where'd flow go? The side effects.
Here you go.
The side effects are.
Your
you're gonna
stomach
get-
disappears like the flow just did.
Yes, it just disappeared. You get more nutrients from your food, so you get energy. So you get energy from your food. That's
The
an
whole
idea.
reason we eat is to create ATP, adenosine triphosphate, so you can actually have energy to do functions throughout the body. And if you're not digesting all of your foods, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, whatever it is you're eating, you grab a handful of crackers, if that's cooked, you need a digestive enzyme. If you grab a handful of grapes that are fresh and living, you don't need an enzyme because there's enzymes in that food. If people have an issue with raw food, saying, oh, well, this doesn't agree with me or that doesn't agree with me, it's because you're not chewing that food well enough to open up where the enzymes live in that food. Like lettuce and broccoli, they're very dense. Whereas if you eat an orange, maybe the little teardrop areas in the orange or in a cucumber, you can actually visually see where that plant houses the enzymes. And as soon as, whether an animal comes along or we come along and chew that, the enzymes are released and then that digestion takes place without asking anything of the body. That's what's critical.
Critical.
It is critical.
So here's the deal. So even though this is called flow, and it does help you go to the bathroom a little bit more, and it does flatten your stomach out, which is a super cool
Good side
benefit,
effect.
Good side effect. It's really about blood flow, not poop flow.
Yeah.
It's really
Although
about
we do
blood
like
flow.
using chocolate pudding just because it's fun.
Especially when we have butterscotch.
I know, there's no way we could do that. It smells too good even.
Yes. So it's all about blood flow. You want those blood cells, right, delivered, as Tylene likes to say, from your big toe to your brain within 60 seconds. What do they have? Are they full of nutrients when they get to your brain?
Or are they empty?
Or are they empty? Pretty interesting. And so we know, obviously, it's not all about this. It's about food, right? But we're at such a weird place now, at least in this country, generation to generation, it's caught up to us. So why do we see kids with arthritis and they're 7 or 8 or 9? Maybe it's because they're depleted in digestive enzymes. They can't even break the protein down. Why do we have all this the diabetes and cholesterol, all these things? Why are men, I'm 53, I feel better than I did in my 30s. Why do men need sexual health? It's all about blood flow. Obviously, food and nutrition is a big part of how we get to a certain place in our mind and all these things. But once again, if nutrients aren't being delivered to the brain, why do we think we have so many brain issues? If most of this country is
Starts in the gut.
on some type of medication, yes, your gut is, right, they call your gut the other brain, and there's a reason for that. So not only does your immune system, that's in your gut, but your brain. So your brain, your immune system, it's all happening in the gut. And that's why we always want to start with digestion, because it is critical, as Tylene said, that you've got to break down whatever it is that you eat.
And a lot of people think, because we worked with a lot of bodybuilders and people that are very into the external physique for years. We traveled and would go and work with people that worked out a lot. And then even ourselves, when we're in the gym, we'll see a lot of people, especially repeatedly, that, hey, that person has been working out really hard for a long period of time, and I can visually see they're not getting the results that they're looking for. And they may be eating everything right, and they're just not breaking that food down. So I see it a lot with, even you may look good on the outside, but what's going on the inside at the cellular level is critical. A lot of people can look great on the outside and have a lot of visceral fat, and they can also have a lot of arthritis from eating excessive protein and not being able to process it. So whether it's a protein bar or a protein shake, you really have to be mindful of actually making sure that gets broken down all the way so it can actually repair the muscle and feed the brain and everything else. So.
Yeah, just everyone gets caught up in weight loss. Weight loss is a side effect of what we do. Mm-hmm. It's just a side effect of what we do. And people get so caught up. I'm a simple guy, so maybe it's just my own theory or perspective, but to me, what's the bottom line? The bottom line is, I see people come to me, it's like having a personal trainer, who's obese. Why would I want an obese personal trainer? That makes no sense to me. And I hear all these experts about this, and you gotta have this, and you gotta have that, and I look at them like, well, you're not very healthy. I mean, look at your face. Look at the bags under your eyes. What's going on? Is that an allergy? Is that what's going on? You can tell. It's our skin. It's our hair. It's our nails. It's our entire body. And Tylene likes to bring up the fact that we forget what it feels like to feel 100%. Okay, that doesn't mean if you've had an injury and you've got to be careful of certain things. I get that. But for some people, you just want to be able to go up the stairs. I mean, with 6 kids, 7 grandkids, we want to be able to be active. So it's not like we're all that. And
we need to be active.
We work out. We worked out once in the last week. We've gone and worked out at a place, and we worked out in a room, and we make stuff up. The world is our gym.
80% of your body looking good, if anyone's just in a visual, is going to be diet, big time. 20% of it's working out. Working out is a breakdown process.
It's called nutrition.
So.
I don't like diet.
Well, I know, because the word diet is in it.
Yeah, D-I-E.
But the real word for diet is like what somebody's eating. People have turned it into the fact that it's a weight loss thing.
Okay, do we have flow out of the way?
Yeah, we're going to do
okay, wait. Any questions on flow? Good. Got it.
Good.
Okay.
We go back to it.
Great digestion students here. Okay. All right, let's go into blend. Blend is our multivitamin, mineral, antioxidant. So flow, you get digestive enzymes and probiotics, specifically plant enzymes, by the way. If you're not using our product, get a good plant-based digestive enzyme, a full spectrum. That bottle, that flow will digest a Thanksgiving meal. So instead of wanting to go take a nap after you eat a big heavy meal, you can actually, maybe watch TV on Thanksgiving, whatever you do. You can run around and play football because you have energy from your food. So let's go into blend, which brings 3 aspects: vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants.
Yes.
Because our food's not as great, our soil isn't as great, so we're typically deficient in something. And so once again, we're supplementing what we're probably not getting all of, and some of us are more deficient in other things, certain specific vitamins or minerals.
Well, and with all disease, it's either toxicity, you've been exposed to something over time, over and over and over again, or it's a deficiency. And a good amount of the time, it's a deficiency. Just basic things like magnesium does over 300 functions. They're all enzymatic activities that go on throughout the body. The enzymes we were just talking about are called food enzymes. And then there's metabolic enzymes, and those are the things that are going to do, they allow you to just listen to us talk right now. It's all the different functions. And if you don't have their friends, minerals, to make a reaction happen, that reaction doesn't happen. And so you can almost trace everything back to either that somebody was toxic, they're getting in maybe excessive mercury, aluminum, that's like a toxicity. So they're either toxic from something or it's a deficiency where they're not getting enough of something. And our soil's just super depleted. So even if you ate absolutely perfect, all organic, you really don't know what's in the soil and what that plant's really getting out of the soil, and then if your body's going to be able to process and get all of the minerals, because minerals are just rocks. So the key is, how do you get these rock substances into the cells at the correct levels without becoming themselves toxic? Like iron, you can have a toxicity. Calcium can even be toxic. So the key is to know that, and we only use a chelated mineral, which is bound by the amino acid glycine. And glycine is an amino acid that's very important in general. It's going to help you with balancing out your circadian rhythms and your sleep patterns. And so when you have glycine molecule, 2 glycine molecules, one on each side of the mineral, of the rock, of iron, magnesium, calcium, manganese, whatever it is, the body's actually going to know when, if they're deficient, when to break away that glycine molecule. And one, it'll be utilized. So it's something that's going to be utilized by the body. The glycine itself is going to be beneficial to you. But then your cells will actually know to take up the iron, because maybe for women it's that time of the month and you're going to need more iron. Whereas a guy may not need any iron because he's not losing any iron. So it's very, very important to have a smart product that's going to allow you to know, the body to know and make that decision of when to break away that glycine molecule and actually absorb the minerals so it doesn't become toxic. With that being said, that is not just in our blend product, the minerals I'm talking about. In our entire line, we have chelated minerals that are specifically chelated with the amino acid glycine, because you can chelate minerals with other things like fructose, sugar, and force that rock into the cell, which would be bad, because what if your cell doesn't want that? Then you would become toxic. And in the case of calcium, it could create bone spurs, calcium deposits, and that would be a bad thing. So
we're all about not forcing anything into the body, giving the body it's the decision, the choice to let it heal itself. The body's super smart, it just needs a chance. And so let's, kind of like with a bowl of spinach, just kind of, I think that paints a good visual for some people with iron. So let's say you and I go out and we're having our plate of spinach, whatever, and let's say, I won't use the female thing, let's say I was at the beach all day. How's that? That sounds fun.
The reason why is because sun depletes your iron stores.
I'm getting depleted of iron, you're cool, you're like hanging out, doing whatever you do.
I'm in the shade.
You're in the shade. and we go eat, and so my body's like, oh yeah, Sean, that spinach, I need that iron, and it's going to take that iron, it's going to break it away, it's going to utilize that. Where Tylene's body at that moment with that food, she's basically going to pass it. It's not going to break away
because the body knows.
The body knows what it needs. And so that's an example of why we chelate our minerals with the amino acid glycine.
And they're organic, so it's an organic chelated mineral.
When you hear the word chelated,
and patented.
It's chelated is, again, it's become a marketing word, like natural, and where they're using like chelated with fructose, things like that.
And the word itself, chelated, or it's from a Greek term to claw onto something, chele to claw. And so that just means if Sean was a mineral and I was to claw onto him on both sides, that is the chelation process. So you can chelate with other things. So just looking on the label for something that's chelated is not the answer, because it can be chelated, like I said, with a fructose on each side and force that nutrient into the cell, which would actually be a bad thing. So you want to specifically have it with the amino acid glycine, because that's what the body recognizes, that's what the body's going to not overdo the mineral or underdo the mineral. It's a perfect balance of just giving the body what it needs.
So I want to go back super quick because I want to tell you how to use this as well. With Flow, you basically take a little capsule every time you eat a cooked or processed meal, right? And the best time to take it is right when you're about to eat. If you forget, you still have 15-20 minute window. All the research as far as anti-aging, if anyone wants to age the other way,
yes,
the best time is before you eat. With blend, we recommend a couple in the morning, 1 or 2 again in the afternoon. And again, this is food. These are vitamins. This is whole food. So it's not what we were talking about
So
earlier.
like vitamin A, for example, would come from a wild yam instead of being vitamin A from palmitate. So make sure you always read your labels and what things are from. The vitamin C would be acerola cherries, blackcurrant fruit, oranges, you know, where you would normally get your true vitamin C from.
You want to talk about anything else?
No, I think this is a super underrated product in general because people just assume they're getting it from their food. Even if you bought the most perfect food and just steamed that broccoli, you're going to lose 50% of its nutrient value. If you're somebody who's stressed, if you're someone who works out a ton, anytime you sweat, you're going to just pour out and deplete your mineral stores. And you want to be able to put back in good mineral stores, not some pretend mineral drink. I'll be nice about it. That is in various colors, and you're also getting all of the dyes that then your liver has to deal with. So the other thing when you're bringing in something to the body, make sure it's not bringing in a bunch of other things. Because I'm sure there's people out there who will go, oh, well, what I take works. That's not what we're talking about. Because there's a product out there that kind of sounds like my name, Tylene. My phone actually changes people's thing to that, so that's how powerful they are as a company.
It's kind of a medicine
cabinet start typing in Tylene, it'll type in another word. But we're not saying that product doesn't work. That product works. Many things at CVS, Walgreens, any of the pharmacies work, but at what cost to the body? And if you ever want to know what organ or thing it targets in the body, read the side effects or read who shouldn't take it if someone has severe liver issues. Why? Because it's making your liver bleed. Or if it's severe stomach issues, it's because it's making your stomach bleed. It's taking your brain away from where the pain is. Even read in the dictionary the effects of a drug, the actual word drug and what it means. The biggest thing that we've been doing forever is empowering people to empower themselves. Just start looking at the research. Sean mentioned about trainers, say, that are overweight. Even if your trainer is at perfect weight, this is the thing I want to ask you. If you're not getting the results you want to get after 6 months with somebody, you'd probably get rid of them. Well, if you're going to your doctor and you still have an issue 6 months later, you might want to get rid of that doctor. You want to always be moving forward, not backward, and you don't want to stay stagnant. So you want to be healing, and so that's really important. Is just if you're not getting the results you need, you're not doing the right thing, or someone's not giving you the right information.
Listen, we've been doing this a long time. Tylene's been probably 18, 19 years now teaching all different types of doctors, health practitioners, athletes, you name it. You know, I met Tylene, I don't know, 16, 17, I don't even know. Man, time's flying. 17 years ago.
I know, but we're aging backwards.
Aging backwards, that's
really
cool.
Matter.
But we've seen this thousands and thousands of times, and yeah, it's neat. We get to work with these celebrities and all these athletes, and I think the only thing about that really makes me think, like with athletes, as I used to love any sport and coaching and playing and doing all this stuff, and I was always trying to get bigger and stronger. And I think the misunderstanding of a digestive enzyme is it doesn't make you just like get skinny or lose weight. You're gonna, based on your nutrition, based on your movement, your workout, your exercise, you're gonna get where you want to go if you're doing it correctly, right? That's your goal. But what this does is we've been able to take, football players as an example, whether they're professional or collegiate, and put on muscle and lower what they're eating, lessen their calorie intake because they're getting so much more nutrients out of that food or that protein powder or bar, whatever it is. And I think that's super cool to be able to do.
Well, and there's a ton of research, so you can do it on your own, about not consuming so many calories. We are an overfed, undernourished society, meaning you're eating tons of food and you're still starving because your brain and your body and your cells are starving because you're eating a food that's not nutrient rich. So you don't even need to be super smart to figure out that a donut and a carrot, the carrot's going to have more nutrient value than a donut. And so you want to just be mindful of what you're eating and say, am I giving a ton to my body or am I taking away from my body? So nutrient density is huge.
What about pizza?
Everyone needs to have their vice. So.
Just kidding. Not pizza. Okay,
I'm a dessert
so this
girl,
is the
that's my
foundation
life.
of your house, of your body. Flow and blend, you're getting 5 different things, and that's why we always start people. We all need flow and blend, and then we kind of build from there. Okay?
Yeah, and in Flow, we didn't even really mention about the probiotics, because a lot of times when we mention that Flow has probiotics, they always say, I'm already taking a probiotic. But that's not what Flow is. Flow is primarily an enzyme product to break down your macronutrients. So when you're eating a protein, a carb, and a fat that is totally cooked, you need to make sure you're having an enzyme to break it all the way down to its usable form. We accompany the enzymes with stabilized probiotics, meaning that they can live outside of a refrigerator, so they're stabilized. They're in a cryogenic state, they're basically sleeping. As soon as they hit moisture and warmth, they come alive. You can put them under a microscope and watch them all come alive, and that is your good bacteria. And you want a maintenance supply of that. So they colonize best when they're taken with food because you're sending in good fibers. Your probiotics love the fiber that you can't digest, that they really love. So insoluble fibers. So when you're eating beans and nuts and different vegetables, they're going to thrive on that, and you're going to have a really good gut bacteria. Things that take away from that would be sodas, heavy red meats, things that are going to be more detrimental to them. High stress will definitely kill off your probiotics. And so you're constantly killing them daily. The other thing you're doing daily is we eat, drink, and breathe bad bacteria. So at the same pace, just taking one large amount of probiotics is not going to help you. You need probiotics each time you're eating, and that's why we incorporated it with Flow, so you're getting that maintenance supply on a regular basis. Really important, and we left it out because we don't have a lot of time, and as you can tell, I can talk about each product for a long time.
Yeah, just a little bit. What do you want to talk about? How about recover?
That would probably be the next
Recover?
most important. So like Sean said, blend, Flow, foundational products for everyone. Do that first and see if your issue just disappears. If it doesn't, then this would be the next thing I would absolutely grab.
So Recover is a heavy proteolytic enzyme product that will do all kinds of fun things. For myself, arthritis, right? It'll make sure that I don't have excess proteins that aren't breaking completely down for whatever reason. We always say, when in doubt, take Recover. So I would suggest this as well as a medicine cabinet product to replace those other things that you might normally take for headaches and pain. Okay, you can accomplish it with Recover. Bites, stings, allergies, Recover. Want to talk a little bit about that? Why that?
A lot of our things that we breathe in are protein-based things we're breathing in, whether it be the animal, it's actually the dead skin cells from that cat or dog. It's also the saliva from when they lick their fur that starts going through the air, and you breathe that in. So if it's an animal-based allergy, and also if it's a external breathing in other things, there's mites in the air and all kinds of fun little things you can research on your own, but they're protein-based things that you're breathing in. And if you're already compromised, definitely somebody who already has arthritis, gout, things like that, that's a clear indication you're already not digesting your proteins all the way. Those same type of people are at risk for different allergies that they're bringing in. And Recover on an empty stomach will go in and finish that digestion process of whatever that organism is that's floating around in the body. And it has multiple different enzymes specifically for proteins. Proteins are hard to digest, so you need different types of enzymes to basically picture scissors cutting them all the way down to something the body actually recognizes. And we've already thought of that for you, so you don't have to think about it. Every single thing you need to digest your proteins are in here. And in the blood, because we have doctors that watch this, we have a doctor in the room, so excess fibrin in the blood, we need fibrin because if I was to cut Sean and he was bleeding, his body would come and lay down this fibrin as a matrix for the body to heal. So it's part of the healing process. Sometimes the body doesn't know when to shut that off. So if somebody's had surgery and they keloid, or they have things where the body just keeps laying down this protein matrix, Recover is phenomenal for that. So it'll actually go through the body after somebody's had surgeries, or if they already know that they have excess fibrin throughout the body, it will go in and get rid of excess, but it knows where to balance. So it doesn't, you know, all of a sudden make it so you cut yourself and then you bleed. It just knows. And so it's a kind of a magical thing. So there's 2 enzymes that really, really work systemically. And that's going to be protein splitting enzymes, protease, all your proteases, your heavy proteolytic enzymes, those are words you'll hear, and then lipase. So people that have, and we'll get into another product that has a lot of our lipase in it, but you also have lipase in flow, and you also have the proteolytic enzymes in flow. So you're not adding to and compounding the issue as you're eating fatty foods or as you're eating protein-rich foods. You're not adding to that pile. So systemic means you can take it on an empty stomach, and it's going to go through your blood system, cleaning up any excess debris that is either a protein-based substance or, in the case of lipase, a fat-based substance. So in that case, you can think of any fat type of diseases where fat stays in and around the arteries, and you can know that taking a heavy lipase enzyme on an empty stomach will go through and clean up the body's blood on a systemic level. And that's huge and important. And heart disease, we talk a lot about cancer because I think people are really afraid of cancer, but more people are still dying from heart disease. And heart disease is huge, and it's hugely preventable. I could keep going on. I just decided to breathe. I decided to breathe.
Have a drink of water.
I start getting passionate.
Get a little water. So, okay, any injury, recover. Are we allowed to say inflammation?
You can say whatever you want.
Inflammation.
We can just delete it. We'll just edit it.
Inflammation. So it's a medicine cabinet product as well. So don't pop those pills that are hurting your liver, hurting your stomach.
All your NSAIDs, your non-steroidal, anti-inflammatory.
When you can take recover. I want to talk about, we got Flex here?
Right here.
Let me see Flex. Flex.
Let me get it to you.
Here we go. So Flex.
I love it, yeah.
So Flex and Recover are kind of like peanut butter and jelly together. I mean, these two.
They really do like each other.
They make a great couple. And Flex is our joint product that is delivered again with our enzymes. And so one of the reasons, like we'll hear from people, I've taken some of these ingredients before, I think, in another joint product, but it didn't work for me. Why is that? We believe there's 2 reasons why. One, our enzyme delivery system, because that's getting it in at the level it needs to get into. And 2, we are into sourcing our own ingredients. We just don't let a manufacturing facility pick and choose who they're going to source with. Most manufacturers won't work with us because they want to do that. Why would they want to do that? To save money, right? And put a lesser
inferior
quality ingredient. So we make sure the sourcing is correct, and then we deliver with our enzyme delivery system. So when you take these 2, I'll give you an example. Tylene's mom, she's amazing. Your grandma,
my grandmother,
is almost 101.
Yeah.
And when I met her many, 18 years ago, whatever, so her hands were like